I have been playing video games my entire life. Starting on DS, playing Marvel Superhero Squad, Sonic, Mario, Lego Batman, and that Brain Age game, which still haunts me to this day. Those games I just named, I haven't played in a very long time, but to this day, I remember the music that would play while I was trying to get into Mr. Freeze's ice cream factory, doing my daily training with Dr. Ryota Kawashima, trying my best to beat Chemical Plant Zone 1. I was like 6, okay? But it's not even nostalgia that powers the passion I have for video game music. To this day, I find myself listening to soundtracks from multiple video games, some I've never even played. So today, I'm going to walk you through the variety of some of the most beloved video game music that the fans and myself have come to cherish. But before that, let's go over the beginning of video game music. Yeah, I want to go back in time.
Explain the history of video game music.
That's right! We're going back in time to...
Explain the history of video game music.
Yeah, it's a little quiet. Not much happening. The jingle you've just heard was the first bit of music that was ever implemented into a video game, besides Pong. Gunfight, a multi-directional shooter, released just 2 years later after Pong. It's not much music, and it's a bit repetitive, but it is music. A few years later, 1978, Space Invaders was released, being the first video game to actually have a continuous soundtrack playing in the background. I'd say for the first video game to implement music, it's well done. It's very simple, but it works. The theme was constructed by Tomohiro Nishikado, the creator of Space Invaders. Also, the beats get faster the closer the enemy gets to you, which is interesting because many games follow that format today. Rally X, a maze/driving game made by Namco, had an actual theme. The theme is great, especially that little jingle when the game starts at the beginning. If you heard that, skip back. It's amazing. I love that little jingle. It gets stuck in my head. Four years later, a video game company named Nintendo would hire someone to be their first employee to only focus on creating music for their titles named Koji Kondo. You probably haven't heard of him, very underground. Fast forward a year, and Super Mario Bros. Releases. Now this is a big one. Not only does everyone and their great-grandmother know this game's soundtrack, it also just slaps. Koji created a piece for every different level type. Considering where we were 7 years ago in '78, this is evolutionary. Shall we skip a few years ahead and see where we are? Mortal Kombat's Techno Syndrome, Streets of Rage 2, and Street Fighter 2 soundtracks all slap the faces of both fighting game and everyday game fans. Mortal Kombat's Techno Syndrome has actually never appeared in any MK game, so it technically does not count as video game music, but it slaps and has Mortal Kombat. I mean, come on. Streets of Rage 2's soundtrack is considered revolutionary. Yuzo Koshiro had worked on the first Streets of Rage, but gave it his all with the sequel. The soundtrack garners thousands of views on multiple platforms, and is considered by many to be a cult classic. Street Fighter 2's soundtrack, created by Yoko Shimomura, who has also worked on Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, is also considered revolutionary and a cult classic. SF2 definitely has some of my favorite video game music. I mean, just listen to it. Nobu Uematsu, a self-taught musician, changed video game and music history with the release of Final Fantasy VII, shifting video game music to be compared to classical pieces. There are many bangers in this game's soundtrack. Look how far we've come. From 4 beats to full-on orchestras. What is the beauty of video game music? Before I get into detail, if you've made it this far, just thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the video. Video games are amazing experiences. They're one of the reasons I wake up in the morning. The music that plays while finding an item, beating a boss, or even customizing your character. Stick with you your entire life. These soundtracks bring life to the game's meaning. As a matter of fact, let me just show you a perfect example of this. Horror games, in my opinion, have ruled over the years when it comes to conveying emotion and attempting to reflect story. The best music out of any genre of video game. For instance, Cry of Fear, a psychological horror video game that takes the player Simon through many delusions as you venture into an empty city littered with horrific monsters. Deep down, there's a story of sadness, depression, longing for love, and acceptance. Simon's battle against the horrific monsters reflect his real-life battles with those things. But how does the music play into this? The first song, titled Dark City, stabs you in the heart. It's the first piece of music you hear when you start the game. The drowsiness of each note really speaks loneliness to me. Simon is alone. The music reflects that, and it doesn't hold any punches. Another piece in the soundtrack titled Brandon, which is the best song here in my opinion. Brandon uses these, the only way it makes sense to me, water dropping like-esque sounds to convey this feeling of longing. To me, the song is about so close yet so far. You're almost there, but you suddenly fall to your knees with no way to stand back up, no help from anyone or anything. Not only is the soundtrack a masterpiece, but so is the game. Cry of Fear is free to play on Steam. It's very good, so please go play it. A few more horror games that convey deep emotion and somewhat shift with the story are Silent Hill, Little Nightmares, Limbo, Telltale's The Walking Dead, Outlast, Dead Space, and so many more. But it's not only horror games that can accomplish this. Many games, action-adventure, survival horror, fighting, FPS, RPG, the list goes on, implement music as a way to exceed. So let's jump into some titles and quickly discuss what makes that game's music so inventive/creative. For the next few minutes of the video, I'm going to jump deep into many different game soundtracks. Bear with me because some games might take a lot longer than others. Please enjoy the rest of the video. The first game I'm going to jump into is going to be Undertale. I've never played this game before. Do I plan to? Eventually, yes. But I have heard this game's soundtrack a lot. It's very impressive. Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, created a 16 and 18-bit OST all on FL Studio with influence from SNES RPGs, which you can definitely hear. This game's soundtrack is so emotional, from deep and sad to an upbeat/cinematic feel. Megalovania has been thrown around all over the internet, remixed, credited a subgenre of its own on YouTube, and is even in Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's played every time Sans shows up, like Darth Vader's Imperial March theme. Is there a connection there? Speaking of a franchise that takes place in space, Halo is known to have one of the, some would even say the greatest, OSTs in gaming. The single piece, composed by Martin O'Donnell, titled Halo, would become the series' signature theme. This theme is loved by all, in and out of the Halo community, and is considered to be on the shrine of best video game themes ever. But the theme is not the only banger in this soundtrack. Pieces like A Walk in the Woods, Sweet Autumn, and Devil's Monsters give Halo CE that little bit of life when you're running around shooting Covenant or cautiously snooping around in the mist. Since we talked about space,
let's move to hell.
Doom Eternal's soundtrack is just... It's amazing! Mick Gordon absolutely crushed it with this game's soundtrack. It really gets you in the mood to chainsaw through some demons. The theme you are hearing now is titled The Only Thing They Fear Is You, and is, in my opinion, the hardest thing I've heard from a video game. The Only Thing They Fear Is You was briefly orchestrated at the 2020 Game Awards. And has since been remixed and cherished by everyday video game fans. Sadly, Doom Eternal didn't win Best OST of 2020 like its predecessor Doom in 2016. Other pieces from Doom Eternal's OST that also go hard are Soul Extraction, Blood Harvesting, and Hell on Earth. If any game deserves a musical genre-defining award, Doom Eternal deserves it. I could honestly go on for hours about The Last of Us. The music alone would take up at least an hour and a half, but I'll make it short. The Last of Us's soundtrack was constructed by Gustavo Santaolalla. This game's soundtrack is heavily regarded as one of the best video game soundtracks of all time, and would go to win an award in musical score at the SXSW Game Awards 2014. This game's OST couldn't fit the game better. Every time I see green scenery, my mind instantly hits me with a deep ambient-like instrumental. A few notable pieces are All Gone, Home. And The Last of Us.
Mary, could you really be in this town?
Silent Hill 2 is very well known for its atmosphere. The foggy and very dense town would be expected to produce some interesting sounds, so Akira Yamaoka stepped up and exceeded expectation, displaying music that can be very deep and unsettling. To something that makes you tap your foot. The OST for this game is perfect. I would play you the entire soundtrack, but a few honorable mentions here include The Day of Night, Terror in the Depths of the Fog, and Laura plays the piano.
Ele comeu na China.
Assassin's Creed 2 is widely considered to be the best game in the Assassin's Creed franchise, with its widely popular piece Ezio's Family. Jesper Kyd blessed every Assassin's Creed fan with this OST, and still does. Ezio's family is largely considered to be one of the greats, but this piece isn't the only one that makes you float. Leonardo's inventions, Venice Combat Low, and Earth. Now this is it. How could I make a video on video game music and not talk about Minecraft? This game is the sole reason I even like video game music. Minecraft's OST is simply put unrivaled. I could play any piece from this game's soundtrack and you will more than likely have heard it. C418 is to thank for the impending nostalgia this game carries. Pieces like Dry Hands, Subwoofer Lullaby, and Moog City. All captivate the feeling of sad yet nostalgic. Minecraft is 100% one of, if not the best OST in gaming. The message I'm trying to convey here is just that video games wouldn't be what they are if not for the music. Hello, thank you. If you made it this far in the video, just thank you. I did skip over a few video games that I would have loved to talk about, but this video was getting to the 30-minute mark and I wanted it to be a little below there. So I hit 25, I think that's a perfect length. I'll make a part 2. Want a part 2? Comment down below, please. I've been planning to do this video for a while and I've been putting it off. So doing it and seeing it just brings a smile to my face. And also I'm just gonna say again, thank you. Thank you if you really made this far. Thank you just for clicking on it, and if you skipped here, thank you. Comment down below if you have any video game OST recommendations for me to listen to, or if I missed anything important, or if I got anything incorrect, let me know. Please share, like my video if you enjoyed. I've worked hard on this. Thank you all so much for watching. And that's about it. My name's Eli, and have a beautiful morning, evening, night. Until next time.